Hello, Aperture from Rogue Tactics here again, and this time I'm going to be focusing around how Master Rule 5 affects the XYZ monsters we can play in the deck. Now, I know it isn't official yet, but it basically is with the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, with all the events being postponed and whatnot, so I figured I'd give everyone a quick briefing on, what you can run right now. So let's get started. First we have Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller has been a staple XYZ monster for I don't know how many years, but it's arguably one of the best rank 4s ever printed. It has an incredible blanket graveyard effect negation that is abusable by nearly any deck that can make it. If I remember during the Orcus format, there's a ton of decks that would just focus on making this turn 1 and then insta-win the matchup because they couldn't do anything about it. You can make with any two level 4s. The effect doesn't detach 2, it only detaches 1, and it's amazing. What else can I say about the card? It's been a staple in rank 4 decks for years and years. The only real downsides of the card is that you can't use it to break a board, and its pitiful stats. But other than that, you should basically already be running this card. Up next we have Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. Now, Exciton Knight was taken off the ban list a little while ago, and not many decks have been able to abuse it fully yet. I still believe it's a very strong card, but not every deck can actually abuse it. In Muskets, it's really easy to make, and a lot of times you can just Dark Ruler, make this, and just blow up a board. You do normally give up your Musket advantage during that, but if a board is too big for you to actually break that turn, and you really need everything off the board, this is your guy. He'll just blow everything up. No one really knows this, but he's not once per turn. You can do it multiple times during your turn, and it is a quick effect, but that's only during your opponent's battle phase. He's just a walking nuke. If you need that, put in your deck. If not, you don't have to run him. I wouldn't call him an essential play this format, but he's definitely an option. He does have some, downsides, but those are mainly because we're Musketeers, and we rely on our normal summon. So once we break a board using this, you give up the muskets to break it, usually blow up the field. But hey, he's a good card. And pro tip, if you're running Fiendish Deal, it prevents your muskets from being blown up, so it's a free just pop of everything on the board that isn't a musket. It's kinda cool, Now onto a more obscure rank 4, we have Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is really only if the format develops into more of a back row based format, because all it is an MST. All it is a quick effect, blow up a back row card. It's not really needed all the time, but if a format again becomes more back row reliant, this card's really good. Sometimes all you really need to do to break a board, at least in the back row reliant format, is get rid of a singular back row card. And sometimes it's pretty easy to do that. This combos very well with anti-magic arrows as well, as you can potentially make multiples of these and just pop all the back row. And if you're more worried about, losing muskets or losing advantage by using Topologic Crispania, this is a solid option right now. I'd recommend if you really hate back row, just running one of these and seeing how you like it. If you don't, just take it out. Choice is yours. Now on to the main cards that muskets can abuse this format. We have number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. Heck of a name. But what this card is a generic monster effect negation card for 2 level 3s, of which our deck is mostly made of. It has an incredibly strong effect for a rank 3, one of the strongest in the game. And what it does is whenever an opponent's monster activates an effect, you detach 2, and the effect becomes both players draw a card. It's really similar to that artifact XYZ that came out a long time ago, but it's just way better because it negates a monster effect. This is one of the few cards in the game as an XYZ that can just negate like Nibiru. Really, really strong. Has the benefit of stopping hand traps like I said Nibiru. And it has a weird secondary effect of being able to attach itself to any other number monster. Now, this card is absolutely amazing. There's no downplaying this card right now, and Muskets are one of the only decks that can actually run it because of the weird level 3 restriction it has on it. And it's not just 2 level 3s, it's 2 or more level 3s, which combos really well with another card I'll get into after this. The only real downsides of this card is that it can't be used to break boards, and in order to play it correctly, you have to have additional cards in your extra deck or other resources on the board. But this card, Dark Ruler, and the next card in this list, you can do some really funky plays in this format. It's really fun. And speaking of the next card, we have number 27, Dreadnought Retinoid. Now, this is a card that people were starting to use last format, and people never really got around to fully abusing it. What this card does is it's a generic rank 4, and that when it kills something, it special summons a rank 10 or higher machine from your extra deck on top of it. That's an insane effect, and really is only limited by the targets it has in the extra deck. It also has self-protection for no reason, don't know why it has that, but it does. This is the card, if you're running like the Dark Ruler build, that will let you get out a boss monster for free essentially. It has a decent attack of 2200, which lets it run over like at least one monster usually. And what you bring out, it's up to you, but when that card comes out, that's essentially a boss monster. This is what the control build does right now, because you can't double or nothing them under Dark Ruler, they can't take damage. So what you do instead is you bring out a boss monster. And I was saying before that this combos very well with Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, because this card is a number card, and Shadow can just attach itself to this card, and then this card specials the other big rank 10 thing or higher using the attached materials, which gives the big boss monster you're summoning 3 to 6 materials, and that can lead to some really cool situations. Now, we are limited to what you can summon off number 27, because there's actually not that many targets in the game that muskets can abuse after that, but oh boy, the ones that exist, they're super good. The big boss monsters you can summon abusing this combo are Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus, which is a huge monster, and it's very similar to the Roingyman ad, forgive my pronunciation, the big rank 4 Axie that you just summoned and basically won you the game that got banned a while ago, where if it has 2 material, it's once per turn during either player's turn, you can shuffle a card on the field back into the deck, and it doesn't target. It's already a good effect. If it has 4 or more, it's unaffected by card effects. That's insane. And that's really easy to do if you do the 27 and 75 combo. Because when you summon this using both of those, it has 6 material. And additionally, when this card has 6 material, your opponent can't add cards from their deck to their hand, making it a walking mistake. A lot of the times, after a Dark Ruler, summon both those Xyz and just go straight into this card. It's really funny when you get out because who's main decking Kaijus right now? And some of the only outs that you can play to this card can just bounce the card back into the deck because it has a billion materials on it. This is essentially a boss monster for muskets, and I've gotten this out multiple times in my testing with Master Rule 5, and it's really, really, really funny just to get out and people go, what are you playing that for? And you essentially have a 4K beater that's unaffected by card effects and is treated as a mistake. So, that's a good boss monster. Now, Magnus is only really brought out with the combination of 27 and 75. Now, these other ones you can just kind of bring out with number 27's effect, and they'll still be useful. Now, the next one that we can actually bring out with number 27 is Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer, which is another very long name and a very common trait among all these big boss monsters for no reason. Well, anyways, all it is you can detach one material from it, and it blows up all of your opponent's back row, and they can't respond to the effect with spells and traps. That's a really good effect. It's on a 5k body too, it's really big. And sometimes, when you need to blow up all the back row, and you don't want to blow up your own things with like Exciton Knight, or you don't think Tornado Dragon's enough, you can destroy something with 27, bring out your giant robot fighter, and nuke their back row. It's really strong, it may not have any self-protection, but it is super, super, super good against just blowing up back row. I do prefer Magnus myself, that's because I think his other effects are absolutely broken. But this card is good to run if you really, 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 really hate back row. Now, the last big boss monster that is viable to summon off 27 is number 81, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora, another mouthful. Now, people are probably familiar with this card because this is a train card, and it is once per turn, either in your player's turn, you can detach a material from it, target a face-up monster in the field, and that target is basically unaffected by card effects for the turn. That's a really strong effect. It's on a 4k booty, and it doesn't need the combination of 75 and 27 working together to bring it out. It's really solid. It's not a power play, it's more of a defensive play, I guess. but it's completely viable to bring out because you can basically turn any 2 musket cards into this thing now, and after you Dark Ruler, you just whip this thing out, and you just have a 4K booty on the field that just sits there and is unaffected by card effects. And if you really wanted to, you can actually do the combo with 75 and 27, and it has like 6 materials, so it's just safe for 6 turns. It's really funny. It's probably the safest option of these 3, but again, safe isn't always the best way to play. So make your own decision about which boss monster you want to choose, and if you really want to rely on this strategy, you can run multiple. It's up to you. And that about wraps it up for the XYZ monsters we can abuse in Master Rule 5 right now. Now, with the recent ban list making us lose an instant fusion, we did free up some space in the extra deck because there's basically no point to running more than 1 target with only 1 instant fusion. And hell, I don't think running just 1 instant fusion is even worth it anymore. Just having a basically useless spot in the extra deck at this point that you will probably not draw the large majority of the games. And even if you do draw, you may not be running the correct instant fusion target for that scenario. So you could replace that, you know, the Thousand Eyes, Millennium Eyes, Mud Dragon, whatever you can't really summon right now, with one of the combos on this list. Anyways, good luck to all of you in your magical Musketeer journeys, and see you next time.